Very good morning, friends. Today in this e-learning session, we shall be discussing about the chemistry of DNA. Before starting with chemistry of DNA, I would like to discuss something about nucleic acids. Now, nucleic acids are biopolymers large biomolecules which are essential in all known life forms, in plants, in animals, everything that is known living in this world. As far as definition of them is concerned, they are linear mixed polymers of purines and pyrimidine nucleotides. Thus, they are known as polynucleotides. The elements which are involved in the formation of nucleic acids are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. Now, as we all know that the genetic material in any cell is chromosome, which is made up of two things: nucleic acids and protein. We also know that the nucleic acid can be DNA or it can be RNA. Now, coming to the historical part of these nucleic acids, these nucleic acids were first of all reported by, rather they were isolated by a Swiss physician, Friedrich Michel. Who isolated them from the WBC of pus cells in 1868, and since these substances were isolated from the nucleus, they were named as nuclein. Now, Michel is the person who is known to discover nucleic acids. Now, after this, in 1876, Hertwig demonstrated the role of nucleus in the process of fertilization while he was studying sea urchin. Kossel in 1880 purified the substance, and he also discovered the acidic properties of this substance. In 1884, again Hertwig found that the nuclein isolated by the Michel was a part of nucleus, and he also gave first proof for the biochemical nature of nucleic acids. In 1889, Altman was the first who coined the term nucleic acid. In 1924, it was the work of Fusion and Rosenberg who discovered a basic dye, basic fusion, used to color nucleic acids. In animal systems, the nucleic acids were isolated from the thymus glands, whereas in plants, yeast cells were used for the separation of nucleic acid. The thymous nucleic acid is characteristic of animal system. It has a deoxyribose nucleic acid. Now both DNA and RNA, that is both the nucleic acids, they are present in both the type of systems, animal as well as plants. DNA is the sole genetic material which replicates accurately during cell division, growth and duplication, remains stable, and it has the potentiality to carry all kind of biological information from one generation to another. Now DNA and RNA both act as genetic material in those organisms where DNA is not found. RNA plays an important role as genetic material. The chromosomes contain large amount of DNA which remains constant from cell to cell. Both RNA and DNA, they vary qualitatively as well as quantitatively. The amount of DNA present in the sporophytic cell is 2C, whereas in haploid cells only half of this DNA is present. Half the amount of DNA is present in as comparison to diploid cell. Now this was something very general about the nucleic acids. Now the problem that DNA or RNA, both out of these two, which is acting as genetic material, DNA or RNA. Some experiments were conducted by a number of workers. Now we shall be discussing about the experiments related with the confirmation that DNA is acting as the genetic material. The first experiment that was conducted was known as transformation experiment. Griffith in 1928 conducted an experiment in which he used two strains of a bacteria known as pneumococcus, or another name Diplococcus pneumoniae, responsible for causing pneumonia. The bacteria has two strains, rough walled, smooth walled. Now this S3 was the virulent strain, whereas the R was non-virulent. This bacterial strain was so virulent that when injected into mice, it leads to the death of mice. Whereas this strain of bacteria, it caused general symptoms of pneumonia in mice, but the mice, it recovered from the disease. In another experiment, Griffith killed the S3 strain by heating the mixture containing the bacterial strains, and then he injected it into the mice, in which he observed that the mice did not die and the bacterium was not recovered. When he mixed both these, the rough as well as the heat killed S strain, and injected them into the mice, he found that the mice was dead, and from the dead body he recovered the S3 strains of pneumococcus. Griffith couldn't explain this experiment. He couldn't explain that how a non-virulent bacteria transformed into the virulent one. Though as this S strain was, it became non-virulent. So after some time, three different workers, Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy, in 1944 again repeated the experiment to find out the reason behind this transformation from non-virulent to virulent. And what did they do? They mixed the R strains with the DNA extract from S3, which were then injected into the mice, which ultimately lead to the death of mice. Now, the confirmation that the DNA was acting as the genetic material came from another set of experiment conducted along with this. They treated this extract with first enzyme DNase responsible for destroying DNA, and in another set they added protease, the enzyme responsible for destroying proteins. So in the former case, where the enzyme DNase was added to this extract, the mice recovered. The mice did not die. Whereas the case where protease was added, there the mice, it died, it collapsed, proving that if the DNA was not allowed to mix with this R strain or V strain, then the mice, it remained alive. Whereas when the proteins were broken down, then it did not affect the DNA, thereby converting or transforming this non-virulent into the virulent strain. This became the first proof that DNA was acting as genetic material. Now, another experiment that proved that DNA was genetic material came from the T2 infection experiment conducted by Hershey and Chase in 1952. Now here they used a bacteriophage, a virus which feeds on bacteria, and the name of this virus was T2 bacteriophage. Now this bacteriophage has only two constituents, one DNA inside and outer protein coat. So in this experiment they treated it with radioactive elements like phosphate, and another was now understanding this experiment. Now in two different stocks, the media contained bacteria as well as the T2 bacteriophages. In one stock, 32 phosphate radioelement was added, which hybridized with the nucleic acid DNA. In another stalk, the protein was hybridized with this radioactive 35SO4. Now, when these bacteriophages they acted upon the E. coli bacteria, the radioactive 35 sulfate could be recovered from the surrounding medium. That is, the protein ghosts were found infected with the sulfate element, whereas the new virus particles that came out from this bacterium cell after the lytic life cycle, they were having radioactive phosphorus element, proving that it is not the protein which is transferring from one generation to another, but it is the nucleic acid which is being infected here is passing from one generation to another. This was another proof that the nucleic acids they are acting as genetic material. Another experiment was conducted by H.F. Conrad in California with TMV, tobacco mosaic virus. Now this virus, it does not have DNA, rather it has RNA as genetic material, and it is covered by a protein coat. Now the protein as well as the RNA are, first of all, they were separated by osmotic shocks. Protein coat and the nucleic acid, that is RNA. Now the proteins when injected in the tobacco plants, it didn't cause any infection, no infection. But RNA, when introduced into the plant, it caused infection, proving that if DNA is not present, then RNA can also act as genetic material. It can transfer the infection from one generation to another generation. So friends, in this session we saw that the nucleic acids, they act as genetic material. They pass on information from one generation to another. Mostly it is DNA, but places where DNA is not present, there RNA serve as genetic material and pass on information from one generation to another. In the next e-learning session, we shall see the details of our nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. Thank you.